How y'all doing? How y'all doing this evening? Peace and love, y'all. What's going on? How y'all doing this evening? Family, what's up? Talk to me, fam. Talk to me. How y'all doing? Yo, fam, how y'all doing? What's going on? Good evening. Good evening. Family, how y'all doing? What's going on? I'm waiting till a few of y'all get in, so I'm gonna give it a second. How y'all doing? Renzo, what's up? How you doing, fam? What's going on? What's going on, King? I'm waiting till a few more y'all get in so we can talk. I'm all good. Can't complain, man. Can't complain. That's good. Study up on jurisdiction. Study up on it. Making money, Mitch. What's up? You think you're paid in full or something? You think you're paid in full? You've been dropping jewels lately. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, fam. We got a lot to talk about tonight. This is going to be the discipline aspect of credit. This is going to be the discipline aspect of it. So give it like 1 minute, 10 seconds. Give it like 1 minute, 10 seconds. Ooh, shoot. What's going on? Y'all let me know if I should start doing lives in the morning, like around like the noon or something like that. Because I think most people is up around that time, so a lot of y'all can get the information at one time instead of, the videos be pushed back sometimes because of the times of the day that I decide to release them. Facts. Yeah, most definitely. Okay, okay. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 30 more seconds. How you doing, fam? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Give it 18 more seconds. We're going to talk. Okay, okay. That's good to know. You're cold. You're cold. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, fam? All right. All right, it's time to talk. It's time to talk, fam. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? So tonight we got a lot to uncover, right? Because um, regardless of however people feel about it, right? I noticed that the credit game for a lot of people been going down the drain, right? Left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. The premise of taking on debt is not always to accumulate more debt just be paying, like, just to feel like it's free money. The goal to accumulate more debt is pretty much to find an avenue to make more income. I know a lot of people that took out credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, right? And a lot of people been using it as a source of spending, right? Opposed from trying to trap certain assets that can make money. So when I be seeing people take out, or when people get business like credit cards, right, for like 10K or 5K, I expect that if you got a business credit card for 5K, that at least 4,000 or 3,500 is going towards an investment that's going to cover off that whole entire card balance and leave you some more money over, and the extra money that's on the card that you might can use that for pleasure. But it seems as though a lot of people been using a debt, whether it be credit card debt, personal loans, auto loans, and etc., or even home equity line of credit. People taking advantage of it. And what I mean by taking advantage of it is they not they not being resourceful with their credit. And I found a lot of people struggling afterwards. They tell me like, oh man, I'm in credit card debt, I'm in auto loan debt, I got this, I got this I need to pay off, I got that I need to pay off. And I told them, like, when the whole premise of leveraging credit is not for you save your way, you borrow your way just to $1 million so easily. Usually when you leverage your way up to credit, that means every piece of credit that you get and you turn liquid, that means that liquid amount of money needs to go inside of an investment. So hypothetically speaking, you get approved for a Wells Fargo business credit card. Let's say the limit is 50,000, right? 50,000, you have to figure out, okay, I got $50,000. What exactly am I investing into? What business model am I investing into? What next strategy I'm gonna push forward? Without any strategy, without any real executive business move or business plan on what you're gonna do with the funds, will automatically put you in a hurdle. So when I see a lot of people that's struggling with credit, or I see a lot of people that really when I see people that's really not having it their way with credit, and I look at it like you didn't take the necessary steps. The necessary steps is needed anytime you want to build credit, because just as fast as you can borrow that money, you can lose it too. And once you lose it, you kind of put yourself in a hole, because now you might not have the income necessary to keep up with the payments, and that's going to wipe you out. I realize that it's only if it's only so many times in life that you can go mess up your credit and just get that whole credit report back, because you remember every account don't fall off the same way. Some people got accounts on their credit that's sticking, and meaning like you might have a mortgage that you could take off, but it might be an auto loan that you can't take off. It might be a 10-month late payment on a credit card that you can't take off. It might be a medical bill that you can't take off. And so when you look at those certain debts that might be on your credit report, and you try to dispute it, you like, man, I'm in a deadlock because now I'm struggling. Now I can't even borrow money. Now you can't even borrow anything. And so you just went from being on the top of your game, being able to borrow anything you want, to now you struggling. Now you're in a predicament where you can't get out those circumstances because of the way you looked at credit, like it was a free fall. Yes, it felt like that in the beginning. Yes, when you got a $50,000 credit card, you don't think you can go broke. Yes, when you got $100,000 line of credit, you don't think you can go broke. Yes, when you got a home equity line of credit for 150,000, at that time you don't feel like you can go broke. But remember, the recession, inflation, and all of the prices that's going up is always going to show you that you're not that safe. If you ain't borrowing $1 million at a time, you're not that safe. And if you're not that safe, you want to make sure you have many assets as possible. Different different assets pays people different. So you might have a situation where I got a restaurant, I got an office that I'm renting out, I got a few cars that I'm selling, I got this, I got that, I got that. And so now since you got all of your ducks in a row, you get positive cash flow from each outlet. So as much as you're spending money on that card, you got the cash flow that's coming back, because you got to look at it like a recycling engine. The more money come out, listen, every time you dish out money, you got to look at it like this: twice or three times as much money got to come back. So if I spend 1,000, I'm at least expecting 3,000. If I spend 10,000, I'm expecting 30,000. If I spend 100,000, I'm expecting 300,000. It don't ever spend without reciprocating or trying to recoup those funds. You get what I'm saying? So don't just go out there and spend all of your money, spend all of your credit, exhaust all of your credit cards, and then now you're in a predicament where you wasn't leveraging those credit. Because now I know people that's got perfect credit profiles, perfect credit history, and it's all gone because they did it the wrong way. And I'm not saying like it's entirely like their fault. It's sometimes it's due to miseducation. A lot of people think they're on top of their game because they're in a predicament that I got an 850 credit score. It can go away. It can go away. You can lose it. Like an 850 credit score can go to 650. An 850 credit score can go to 550. One collection on your credit report can drop your whole score 100 points, but it's not even a score. One delinquency can mess up your whole credit profile. So you can have 850 credit score, 10 mortgages, 8 credit cards, $10,000 limits, $5,000 limits. Each credit card got 3, 4 years of history. One missed payment on any of them cards, one missed payment, you lose all of your credentials just like that, because it's gonna show as a derogatory account. Of course, you can get that one derogatory account off, but what about those who went into so much credit card debt, and then they got 10, 12 derogatory accounts? I mean, 10, 12 derogatory accounts on their credit profile. You think they can get something after that? No. Then a lot of people ask me after they mess up their personal credit, well, I don't care about the personal credit. Let's go to the business side. there's no there's no place that really give you business credit that's liquid. And what I mean liquid is real business credit card visas that you can spend in any store. You might have some stores that give you business credit, but only within stores. You might get some companies that give you business credit only on shipping supplies. They give you business credit only on food. They give you business credit only on office supplies. They give you business credit only on brochures or print ink cartridges, stuff you might need, or anything that needs to get run. Like say if you got an office space or something like that, yeah, they give you business credit on that. But the liquid cash, such as credit cards, Visa cards, Mastercards, commercial equity line of credit, equity loans, mortgage loans, real estate loans, all of that stuff goes off the table. All of that stuff, because guess what? Your real credit got to be considered first. And I'm gonna let y'all know this. I'm gonna let y'all know, when it comes to buying real estate, you don't have to have the best credit report. That's the biggest misconception, that you have to have excellent credit to buy a house over a credit card. You got a better chance of buying a house than getting a credit card. It's so crazy, but people just don't know the process of buying a house. So when people look at buying a house, they think it's so complicated. They think it's very complex. Depending on which lender you go through, you can go through traditional banks or you can go through mortgage finance companies. If you ask me, I would prefer a mortgage finance company, especially since they are more relaxed. You can make more money with a mortgage finance company. And also, a mortgage finance company is very beneficial to those who got very low credit scores or questionable credit profiles or limited credit history. You get what I'm saying? So that'd be a good beneficiary, thing to go through. So back to the business credit aspect. So you got a lot of people that want to switch off, and they say, I just want to attack the business credit. Yeah, you can attack the business credit. No bank give out any liquid cash without a social. There's not one bank that does it. We can go through Wells Fargo, you go through Chase, you go through any credit union, you can go through all other company, whether it be TD Bank, Synchrony Bank, what's another one? Costco Business Credit Card, Best Buy. It don't matter which one you go through. Yeah, you can get a T-Mobile phone with business credit, but they might ask you for a deposit, and that's not really liquid cash. You get what I'm saying? You need liquid cash. So that's the goal. A lot of people can't get that liquid cash without putting a social up, because your social and your personal credit profile is really gonna let the bank know whether to borrow to you or not. So you really can't hide the fact that if you got bad personal credit, your business credit shot too. Now I know a couple loopholes to do with the business, but there's only so much you really could do with the business. Unless you strictly want office supplies, unless you strictly want something strictly for the business other than the liquid cash that I'm talking about. That's what you wanna go to. That's what you need to get, but you have to have the right credit profile to do it. How do I get the black card? You gotta have an extremely excellent credit profile history. Now, the black card is usually by invitation, so you can't necessarily just apply for it most of the time. They said the black card, you gotta have an Amex account already with good history, and once you have it for a certain period of time, positive payment history, no missed payments, no late payments. After a while, they allow you to apply for the black card, and when they send you the offer, 9 times out of 10 you might get it, and once you get it, you're gonna get approved, and they're gonna give you a crazy limit on the black card. And once you get the black card, you really in. I tell a lot of people that you want to really save all of your ducks, put all of your ducks in a row, and you want to make sure you organize, because it's way more money to get than what most people think. Most people think it's limitations. Like, no, you can go crazy with your credit. You can go extremely crazy with your credit, but you have to be mindful. And also, I am gonna say this, right? That this inflation is killing off a lot of people's credit, because nobody expected the prices to be this high. Nobody expected the economy to be this slow. All this layoffs that's going on, less consumer spending, more coming out of pocket, less you can keep. I understand. Now it gets to a point where a lot of things that we deem as assets is no longer assets anymore, especially to the bank. Because right now, look at the housing market. It's so many extra homes up for sale. Even a lot of builders have to make cuts due to the fact that a lot of borrowers is not buying homes, right? Because of we have an affordability issue, right? So the market is not booming the way it is. The everything is not going as fast as it is. So me as an entrepreneur, like I said in my last video, I know how to pivot in hard times. So when I mean pivot, I know how to make the money in different aspects. Like right now I trade. I make good money off trading, but you still got to understand that even with that industry is very good due to the fact that right now trading has been a good strong industry to hop in because you don't necessarily have to worry about the foreign exchange market to crash. You don't got to worry about the market just blowing up overnight because even if the euro is winning or the U.S. dollar is winning or the Australian dollar is winning. As a person who understands how to trade, you know how to pivot. What I mean by pivot, you know how to change directions. So let's just say if we looking at a Japanese dollar, right? Let's just say we going against the Japanese versus the United States dollar. But now the news is showing that the dollar is losing tremendously to the Japanese dollar. So then if it's Japanese versus the euro, we're gonna go for the buy, right? Whatever duration of time you choose, you could, but I'm just giving you an idea that the foreign exchange market can't crash, right? Now, that's just what I personally do. I'm not telling everybody to do it. I'm just saying, as a business owner, I realize that the market can be short in any other aspect, even little stuff, right? I can be, I don't know. Let's just say if you sell, I don't know, Apple products, right? You can't expect for the same store to be booming the way it is. You can't expect if you already making $1,000 a day doing the Apple stuff and everything like that. But in an inflation like this, in a recession like this, and you got so much inflation, I wouldn't expect this to do the same numbers. That $1,000 a day can quickly turn into $200 a day, and from that $200 a day, it can easily turn into $50 a day due to the fact that inflation and the limitations on how many buyers choose to actually buy your products. So as a business owner, if you want to keep the same revenue, you want to keep the same money going, you have to find different avenues to make money. I don't give a damn if you got to get an oil man. I don't care if you got to invest crypto. I don't care right now if you got to. I don't care right now if you got to trade, invest crypto, invest futures, stack up gold, get a restaurant, anything. You got to get to it right now. You got to learn how to pivot. And remember, don't be stuck in your ways. Just because you deal with a certain industry, that don't mean you can't change industries and do something else. Because even though you like right now, in my opinion, as an entrepreneur, I'm gonna tell y'all this: the whole entire economy switched over to a digital system. And what I mean by it switched over to a digital system, the digital system that we talking about is, everything is turned into a how I want to say when I say digital system. When I say digital system, like futures, the foreign exchange market, everything is turning digital. So the market that we had back then, where it deals with a lot of tangible products such as phones or food or clothes, shoes, and cars and stuff like that, inflation made it where a lot of industries is capped out with the amount of people that's purchasing. Now, of course, in the inflation, most places gonna sell is food, right? Food is always gonna sell. But look at so many clothing industries that's shutting down. Look at how many clothing stores are shutting down. Look at how many children fun places are shutting down. Look at how many places just shutting down in general due to inflation. But then you got to know what's hot, what the market looking at, what it look like everything's turning into. And so now you see the price of digital currency going up, right? Like people got the SP 500, right? S&P 500, right? So when you look at that, you're like, man, so the digital market is blowing up because the dollar is dropping. That's what I mean by learning how to how to pivot. So because you ain't knew how to pivot, you just looking at it like I sell T-shirts. That's what I sell. Like, yeah, that sounds good in a regular functioning economy. But when you're dealing with the middle of an inflation in a recession, what's hot? And you will figure out digital currency is what it is. Now everybody don't know how to trade. Everybody don't know how to trade digital currency. That's why you have to figure out where exactly do you can see yourself profiting in? Where do you see yourself going? Where do you see yourself winning at? You get what I'm saying? Because if you don't know how you can win or where you need to be or how you should structure everything, then you're gonna be pretty much lost. That's why it's so. That's listen, family. That's why it's so good to have financial literacy. And financial literacy is hitting every aspect. It's not just hitting one industry. It's not hitting two industries. It's just understanding the market entirely. It's been one point in time. If you ever read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, where real estate was a thing, where people borrow money, buy real estate, borrow against the equity in real estate. That was the thing at one point in time, and it still technically is a little bit. But now, when things switch over, now you have other industries like digital currency. Most people, like, I feel sorry for if you're a baby boomer, Generation X, and some millennials, due to the fact that a lot of people ain't caught on. A lot of those generations ain't caught on to the tech world. And the tech world is eating up at the physical world. And the reason why I say the tech world has ate up the physical world is because AI is literally running everything. So they don't need you to make a cheeseburger at McDonald's no more. They don't need you to pack up boxes using a forklift at Sam's Club. They can hire AI for that. They don't need you at Burger King flipping this burger and I got AI to do it. They don't need Rebecca at the desk at Microsoft to do these codes for them because they can hire AI for it. And so when AI is replacing every single person, and on top of AI replacing every single person, we're going through a recession and we're going through mass layoffs. It's gonna be a clash right now, right? So now you're looking at the rich and the poor, and now you got a big dividing line. And what most people not realizing is that the value of your dollar is getting less and less valuable. So when you see people say, "Oh, raise the wage," there's no wage that they can raise that would no wage that they can raise that will beat inflation. That's what people don't understand. They think inflation can be beat if you increase the wage, as if by them increasing the wage, like they won't just adjust the prices again. Or if you get another wage, like they want to increase the prices again. You got to understand all this stuff was systemically done, systemically designed. Now it's up to you to figure out, okay, how can I do this? How can I beat this inflation? Then you got to figure out, like, how can I get to the bag? Like, what can I actually do to win? What can I actually do to sustain? What can I actually do to keep everything afloat? Because right now a lot of people losing. This inflation beating everybody. You can go to look, your auntie, your cousin, your daughter, your niece, all can work at Burger King for $10 an hour and it will not be enough. Your whole entire family can get a job at Microsoft and it wouldn't be enough. Your whole family can get a job at Amazon. It wouldn't be enough. Your whole family can get a job at DoorDash. It would not be enough. Your whole family can get a job at Red Lobster. It wouldn't be enough because inflation would beat it out, like brutalize it instantly. And so a lot of people ain't caught on to it yet. This the digital world we live in right now, fam. And I've been talking about this for so long because when I was talking about the digital world, they thought everything was in a physical. No, it's digital now. Digital everything. And so that's when you look at the digital dollar, like the Bitcoin and the XRP and stuff like that, what people investing into to make money. But I wouldn't even just say that. If you ask me, I'll say the foreign exchange market has always been a go-to, especially in hard times. Remember, a lot of people got rich around the pandemic on the digital side because a lot of people was trading, but you also got marketers, right? Now these the Ponzi scheme, what people talk about, like the Ponzi scheme and all that. When people was running Ponzi scheme, teaching people how to get rich, but they really wasn't trading. They was actually just getting rich off of recruiting others. So one person recommend one person to come, and once that person come, the person who come will have to recommend someone to come, and that person will have to recommend somebody to come, and the first person who recommended all of them to come would get a rank, and it constantly go like that. And so right now we going into the times of the pandemic, because remember, what people fail to realize in the pandemic, most people wasn't prepared, because in the pandemic everybody was under the assumption that we was getting free money, but they didn't thought that we had to pay for that shit in the future. And remember, it was a global pandemic. It wasn't a United States pandemic. It wasn't a Russia pandemic. It wasn't just a China pandemic. It was a global pandemic. So much, it was more money printed in 1 year than 60 years in the United States. They printed more money in 1 year than they did in 60 years in total. So if you printed all of that money in 1 year, it's going to cause a great inflation. But guess what that's going to really hurt? It's going to hurt the poor and the middle class. It's going to hurt the poor and the middle class because most people are not going to adjust to it. The average person wakes up every day and their salary is based upon the amount of hours that they perform. That's poverty. Your wage is add up to the amount of time that you work. There's not enough time in this world that will give you an edge to win or be equal in this economy. So that's what it confuses a lot of people when they say it's going to wipe out the poor and middle class, because the poor and middle class uh, live on a wage-based salary, right? Whether you wages would be poor, salary would be middle class, right? So let's just say hypothetically, McDonald's pay $14 an hour for cooks, $10 an hour for a janitor, $12 an hour for a cashier, and $16 an hour for a shift manager. Now, let's say Coca-Cola factory, their management gets $62,000 a year. Their general management gets $75,000 a year. Let's say they H&R, human resource, let's say they get $95,000 a year. That would be considered salary. Now, wage and salary work hand in hand. The only difference is the salary just might make more, and they live in a middle class lifestyle. The working class would be, which would be the poor, they get the wage based salary, like an hourly based salary. So anytime you get an hourly based salary, you are already below the poverty line, especially in a recession. The average person who work a job can never buy a house. The average person who work a job can never buy even a $40,000 car. Wouldn't even qualify for a $40,000 car. The average person who worked at McDonald's probably wouldn't even qualify to even get a $20,000 personal loan. You get what I'm saying? And so when you got somebody who get everything off a salary, they have enough, but they don't have enough to win in this economy. So they stand within their means, but they have to go below their means in order to sustain, because they're not making a whole lot of money. Let's just say a person who makes $95,000 a year, if you take 30% of that to the federal government, 9,500, that's 27,000. You take away 27,000, you roughly around about 69, 68,000 or whatever the case might be, or 63,000. Let's just say 63,000. So you at $63,000 a year after taxes. You got your house payment, you got everything. They're making a few $1,000s a month, where the person who's just making an hourly wage, they not making nowhere near that. Soon they get their check, their entire check, 100% of their check going towards the bills. 100%. Not 90%, not 80%, not 50%, and damn sure not 25%. 100% of their wages, if they live alone, going directly into all of their bills, all of their living expenses. And so what I mean, the rich, so the rich is the ones who own the resources. That means like you own the construction sites. That means you have the businesses. That means you own the oil wells. You have a percentage of stocks and shares of each company. You have a percentage of the digital currency such as Bitcoin, Brookshire stock, Apple, Tesla. You know what I'm saying? And so when we look at this, look at the inflation, the rich is not. They're not really worrying about it, because inflation only hurts and wipe out the middle class and the poor. It does not wipe out the rich. If you own this building, if you own this water well, if you own this source of transportation, if you own these fleet of cars, if you own this amount of gold, if you have this much digital currency, nothing will wipe you out. It can decrease. Your wealth can decrease due to an inflation, but it does not wipe you out. Inflation is meant to wipe out the middle class and the poor class. And what I mean wipe out, is going to financially devastate y'all to so bad. It's going to financially devastate a lot of people so damn bad that the average person who might make $50,000 or $60,000 a year, they're gonna be living in the same. They're gonna be living next to a same person who make $10 an hour, right next to a person who make $8 an hour, right next to a person who makes $7 an hour, because the average house of price of a home is $400 and some thousand dollars. The average price of a home. You get what I'm saying? And so one person said, I'm scared of credit because I don't want to go into debt. Debt is not the problem. Debt is not the problem. You want me to tell you what the problem is? Not learning how to manage debt in order to acquire assets. So you are using debt and you are buying liabilities, then debt is going to wipe you out. But if you are using debt and you're using it as an asset, then it won't wipe you out. Let's just say hypothetically, you get a $20,000 personal loan, and the first thing you went to with that personal loan is the mall. You wiped out. You get a $40,000 credit card, and the first thing you went to is Saks Fifth. You automatically wiped out. Let's say you get a $5,000 business loan. The first thing you went to is GameStop, or you just went out to eat to the steakhouse, or you went to Miami on a trip. You getting wiped out. You getting wiped out just like that. You getting wiped out just like that, clean. No repercussions, no nothing. You getting wiped out because you automatically set yourself in a predicament where it's going to lead you more to poverty. You gotta look at credit as like this, right? This money is not free. What do I have that would substitute the excessive spending that I'm doing? So if your excessive spending would be $2,000, do you have $4,000 in assets that you can replace for that excessive spending? Do you have businesses that's already generating a certain amount of money that can put back into the debt that you use? If not, then it's going to kill you. Debt is going to be your worst enemy. And debt has become people's worst enemy because it's not being managed, maintained, and operated right. Because when you're dealing with rich and poor, it got a lot to do with mindset. It's not so much of the haves and the haves not. It does play a role, but the main part is your mindset. If I went to 10 people right now work at McDonald's and I said, hey, man, do you understand what the LLC is? Do you understand like what credit is, how to leverage credit? If I just ask them simple stuff they might not know. And not only do they not know, they're not susceptible to even want to learn. So they don't even want to learn this information. They mindset is strictly consumer, consumer, consumer. Their paycheck is gone before they even put it in their hands because the first thing is they thinking about how can I spend this money. Soon they get the check, it is gone. Soon they go in their hand, it's just like a ghost. Casper the ghost, it just land in their hand and it's gone. And I don't think like that. I don't think you should move like that. I don't think you should play like that, especially in the times like this. I don't think people, and I'm not gonna lie to you. Me as a business owner, I didn't expect the inflation to hit this hard. I'm talking about hitting everybody, knocking them left to right, woo, 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 slicing everybody down like a sword, like a tree branch, like it just smacking everybody getting hit. Nobody's safe. You think, guess what? The person who think he making a couple $100,000 a year, he think he's straight. In this recession, a couple $100,000 a year is nothing. It's something. You can remain afloat, but it's gonna be a part of you that like, man, I'm not living that life. I'm really struggling. I'm maintaining, but I'm really struggling because you're not at the peak of your success yet. Now, if you make $500,000 a year and better, yeah, you said you yeah, it's inflation not gonna wipe you out. But just for the person who making maybe $100,000 a year, $150,000 a year, even $170,000 a year, you can be struggling. You could be struggling because you're not all the way in. You're not there yet. You still got more work to do. It's way more work to do. It's way more money to be made, but it's way more things you have to put in perspective. You have to be able to calculate your assets and your liabilities. Then on top of that, you have to ask yourself, what is an asset? What is a liability? How much have I invested into myself? How much am I investing into my business? What all what all I put inside of my business in order for this to work? You get what I'm saying? Most people ain't put enough into their business. Most people ain't put enough into their strategies. Most people ain't put enough into what they need to do. Yeah. Unc, what's up? What's up? How you doing? I didn't even knew you was on here. I just seen it. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's going on? But this recession finna knock everybody out, y'all. It's finna knock everybody out. It's about to knock everybody out. For real. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So 150,000, 200,000. That's not enough in this recession. It's not enough. You need way more than that. You need way more. You need way more. And I didn't even know it was gonna get this high. I didn't know that prices was gonna go this high. I didn't know that things was gonna cost this much. I didn't know the cost of living is gonna be this high. And then you gotta include the massive layoffs. So not only do you have a recession, you do have massive layoffs because corporate cuts. So since the corporation is making too many cuts, you got a lot of people that's not going to make the wages. You got a lot of people that's not going to be able to work. So then that's going to put a bigger gap, a greater gap between the rich and the poor. Way greater gap. Way greater gap now, because nobody's going to be able to afford housing. Nobody's going to be able to afford their living expenses. Nobody's going to be able to afford the basic living. And so when you put that in perspective, it's going to get even worse. Recession is going to be rough. Oil up, yeah. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. Hold on one second. One second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, fam. One second. One second. You say you still doing mentorships? Yeah, I still do mentorships. I slowed down on it, fam. I really did. I've been doing other things lately, but I slowed down just a little bit on the mentorships because I've been worrying about some whole other stuff family right lately. So my goal is just to make sure y'all get the information that y'all need that can financially help y'all. Whether it be a lot of people right now, a couple of my students doing the auto loan conversion now. The auto loan conversion is very useful depending on how you do it. Now, some people's strategies is different, right? I tell a lot of people that the vehicle at least got to be brand new if you choose to do it where you want to apply for a title and sell it. But if you choose to do the auto loan conversion strictly when you get the check, then that's different. It's way more beneficial. So, but only do the auto loan conversion if you actually going to get the money and get assets with it. Don't just get the auto loan conversion just to spend money, get money, because you're gonna lose it all and then you're gonna owe the bank and then you're gonna take a real credit hit. Strategize everything. So if you get the check, don't spend a dime until you know exactly what you're gonna do with it. How you doing, fam? What's going on? He said nobody is talking about this, but act like this is normal. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's actually affecting a lot of people. I think most people can't accept the fact that recession is hitting hard. It's hitting extremely hard. When everybody, like I said again, when everybody was enjoying themselves around the pandemic, remember, I seen flights to Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico on how much was it? It was a $60 plane ticket. No, $59 plane ticket. It was a 50 some dollar plane ticket for a round trip ticket to Puerto Rico. 50 some dollars for a round trip ticket to Puerto Rico. So at that time, we didn't have a major inflation. The economy was booming. The government was giving out money like it was dirt off the street. So now, when everybody was taking that money, when everybody was just having fun, having a ball and spending it, getting the stimulus check, they was getting student loans forgiven, everything. Like, it was so much money that was just getting spent, dispersed, getting sent here, getting sent there. And now people that know is going to circle back around because people fail to realize that the dollar is not backed by gold. So since you don't have a gold-based currency or even a substantial structure based currency that's backed some substance, you have a debt-based system. So every time we borrow money, We think that borrowing money or the government printing more money as if more money is coming to the economy. The more money that they spend, the less worth your dollar. I mean, the less your dollar is worth. You get what I'm saying? The more money the government is printing, the less the dollar is worth. So tomorrow if they printed $1 trillion, that $1 is now worth 87 cents. And now right now it look like the dollar is worth what 40 to 50 cent was back in 2010. Can you just look at that difference right there? And then you got to understand the housing crisis. How much landlords is now charging for rent. But then you got to think about the major layoffs because corporations ain't booming no more. You got some that's making an appreciated amount, but you got a lot that's taking hits. So now they doing major corporate cuts. And then you got to think the federal government is doing major layoffs. So not only is everybody losing money just for regular corporate jobs, you got to think the federal government is doing major layoffs. Go through TikTok, look through all the videos of major corporate cuts and government cuts. You're going to see so many people laid off, and they're not laying people off like they giving y'all a 2-3 weeks notice, a month notice, a couple days notice. They just telling everybody flat out, we have no more employment for you. We got to take corporate cuts, and we decide for you to go. Now imagine this is a person who worked their entire livelihood is dependent on the job. Their entire livelihood is dependent on that work. I mean, for that corporation to pay them. But since the corporation can't effectively pay you and they let you off just out of nowhere, this person might not have no assets, no real estate, no lines of credit, not an 850 credit score, no money saved up. They wiped out right there. They wiped out right there. So whatever they thought they was making, they wiped out. And I seen another person. He made some good money. I think this person made $100,000 a year, $140,000 a year. He worked for a corporation. He bought 2 cars. He got a brand new house from the job that he worked at, and so he already made a down payment for the home. So he's been living in the home. Everything been going good. And one day they told him, "We can't hire you. We can't hire you no more." Right? So he couldn't no longer work for the corporation. And so since he couldn't work for the corporation, guess what that means? Guess what that means? His whole livelihood just got torn in half. His whole entire livelihood got torn in half. Just that easy. And people do need to talk about that. You need to spread the word. But I really would say I've been seeing a lot of TikToks about it, but nobody really talking about a solution. I see everybody on the internet, oh, I lost my job and I'm going broke. But the flip side to it is whether you work a job or not, you need to figure out a way how to make some money or get some sort of assets that you can make money from in order to survive this recession. Because what we're seeing right now is not exactly what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years. Because people don't understand, you got inflation. That's the first steps most of the time to a recession. Then you got the recession. Then you go through a global depression. Because remember, this global depression is not only affecting America, it's globally. So when people think this is a United States problem, they having the same thing in China. When people think this is a Chinese problem, they having the same thing that's going on in India. When you think it's an Indian problem, it's the same thing going on in Africa. You think it's an African problem, the same thing going over in other countries. You get what I'm saying? So it don't matter what part of the world you go through, it's going to be the same thing. The amount of the money is going to cost way more than the average quality of life. So what we were spending for the average quality of life in 2010 is not going to be the same right now. I don't care which country you go to. So when you make that make sense, then you will understand, like, okay, that makes sense. How can I secure the bag? Like, what can I do? Me personally, like I said, right now, you got to know what's actually going on and what people making money from. It's the digital money. The digital currency, I'm not going to lie to you, the digital currency is what you're going to need in this recession. Credit, yes, but most people don't have top tier credit. And most people don't have the funds to even build top tier credit. So I would say digital currency first. Now credit, now if you got excellent credit, I met a few people, I know a few people right now that got excellent credit. I got a few family members that got excellent credit, and they can, leverage that and they can turn that into some assets. But everybody ain't sitting on a 700-800 credit score. I'm talking about with a solid profile, because this also go into my conversation when I discuss lending, because lending in a recession is not the same. Let me explain to you. I made this video before, but I want everything to make sense when I'm talking about recessions and inflation. When you're dealing with inflation and you're dealing with this recession, you have to realize that lending criteria, I'm going to say this again, lending criteria is not the same in a recession. Lenders are way more conservative. Lenders are way more tight when it comes to financing anything, whether it be a home, whether it be another car, whether it would be a personal loan, whether it would be even if you're getting solar energy, lending is way more tighter than it was back then. So back then, the average person, the average person could have had a basic credit score, right? You could have had a 680 credit score with one primary account. Let's just say if you had a regular credit card with $1,000 limit and could have went to Wells Fargo and asked Wells Fargo for an auto loan for 25,000, and they could have got it without a down payment. That same lender wouldn't even look at that person with that same credit report today with the same lens to say, yes, we can give them a $25,000 car with no down payment with only $1,000 credit card on their credit report. It would not happen in a recession. So remember, not only is jobs being laid off, not only has it been major cuts with job working, not only has the price of goods came up in the market, mass layoffs, and also increased prices of the houses. You also got conservative and very stringent lending requirements when it comes to lending. So when people come to me, they'll say, bro, I watch your videos about Navy Federal. Navy Federal giving out $70,000. I said, did you read the date on that video that I made? He said, yeah, 2022. This ain't 2022 no more. It's 2025. You should have came back. You should have came in 2022 and did that same play. You should have came in 2022 and did what I did. This ain't 2022 no more. This is 2025. Oh no, Navy ain't playing no more. Navy not playing no more. Navy Federal was giving out them loans like ice cream cones. It's over with now. It's over with. Now the bank Now the bank is way more stingy with money now because now they gotta be tight with whoever they lend to. They only want prime borrowers now. They don't want questionable credit. Questionable credit, you ain't got no mortgage, you ain't got no auto loans on your credit with consistent payment history, you out. You ain't got no personal loan history, you out. If you ain't got no major credit cards with history on there, you out. You get what I'm saying? And when people come to me and say, what do an authorized user do? Nothing. What do rental history on my credit report does? Nothing. What does a self account and rent reporters does to my credit? Nothing. Don't do nothing. It don't do nothing to your credit report. It don't help your credit report at all. Now, but let me be brief for a second, right? It does not do anything to your credit report because the qualifications now, they want more. They have the right to be stingy now because you got to understand, not only is people getting wiped out, you got to understand that the banks are taking major hits too. The banks is reporting the highest default rate in history with auto loans, over $1 trillion in auto loans, $1 trillion in credit card debt, not paid. Trillions of dollars in student loan debt, not paid. So when banks look at it, a lot of people are not making consistent payments. So now the banks got to go back to the books. All of these people who would have qualified, we got to take them down to a lower tier. Who can we give our money to? Because remember, the only time the banks make money is when they lend out money. But they lose money regardless if they do lend out money that they're not reciprocating anything back from. You get what I'm saying? So you got to look at it like that. And my bank right now, so far right now, my credit report, is very good. I got a good profile. My bank is working with me. I go through a finance company. I don't even go through a bank. I go through a finance company, but I got two finance companies I got real close relationships, and they begging me to borrow money from. They begging me. They like, Taquan, do you want another house? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting investment property from y'all, but me in this economy, I'm better off buying a property, renovating the property, and just cash, not do a cash out refinance. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an equity line of credit. That means I can just go right to the portal. They have me log into a portal. I put in my address and everything information. They get an appraisal for that property, and they'll just cash me out just like that. They give me a card, and everything could go on the card, and it can work like that, and I could be leveraging that. But that same house that I got, I could be renting that out, and that could be paying back the mortgage. Now, the equity line of credit is like a credit card. So if I just put the money back on there, I can use it whenever I want, whenever I please. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by assets and building like that. That's good. But then you got the other side. So people who don't got good credit, don't got a good profile, it's best to hop into the digital side of money. The digital side of money would be like foreign exchange market. You can learn from a lot of people. You can learn. A lot of people teach it online. I don't teach it personally. I would soon. I really, really would soon. I would give everybody a notification that if everybody genuinely want it, if you genuinely want to make money, I will show you. And what I'm gonna do is with my program, right? So when I trade, the way I'm finna do it, I'm about to have a disclaimer. So I'm about to have a contract with all of my students. You get a 30-day program where if you don't make money with those 30 days profit, I give you your whole entire deposit back. That's how I'm gonna make it, and it's gonna be in the contract. Yep, and it's gonna be a debit card, so you can pay with a debit card. I'm gonna make it where you can pay with a debit card, so you can call your bank back and ask them for your reversal if you don't make a dollar, if you don't make your profits. You get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have that soon, because I know a lot of people would want it, because then they're gonna say, okay, you might just charging us just to teach us how to trade. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make it even better. I'm gonna give you a refund back. If you don't make a penny, you get your refund back. The everything, so you don't lose nothing. You don't lose nothing. Like, money printing is bad, yeah. Quantitative easing, yes, correct. Quantitative easing, you said the right word. Houston, Houston, Houston. I like charts. That's good. That's good. Well, it's quantitative tightening, yeah. That's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on, family. You just said it. Facts, that's true, bro. What you think about Bitcoin? Bitcoin is an asset, that's good, but Bitcoin is not passive income flow. So Bitcoin is a good asset to hold on to, but business is not a cash flow. You want a cash flow system. So once you get the cash flow system, you will be able to make more money. Without the cash flow system, it's kind of hard to make money. So Bitcoin is not a cash flow system. Trading futures is a cash flow system. Foreign exchange is a cash flow system. Investing in pips is a cash flow system. Don't cops make a lot of money? Of course. If you want to say, when you say a lot of money, they make a lot of stable money to survive, but cops ain't surviving this recession. Not this recession. Not this recession at all. Unless you live in a house rent free or your house paid off by your parents or something like that, then it might look like a lot of money. But if you living by yourself in a safe area where you ain't gonna get your head blown off in the middle of the street and it's safe, then no, you gonna be in a recession too. Depending on the the, um, the circumstances. Are you familiar with the Kingdom of Khazaria? I heard of that before. Is that in Africa? Listen, folks, Bitcoin is the ledger. Yeah, Bitcoin is good. It's good to hold your money in. It's not a cash flow system. It's not a cash flow system, y'all. It's in Eastern Europe. Oh, I never heard of that. Listen, for okay. What's more trustworthy? Credit repair company. Credit repair is good, but credit repair companies got to stop lying to people. They got to stop telling people if you clear your credit, you good. They not. They don't. A lot of people who teach credit don't know criteria. That's one thing. And I'm not saying criteria like, oh, have an 800 credit score, make sure you don't got no payments. That's not credit criteria. Credit criteria is telling them exactly which accounts you need on your credit report and which lenders will accept your specific credit report. Because if I tell anybody, oh, Well, just make sure you have on-time payment history and no late payments and the 700 credit score, you can get approved. That's not true at all. That's far from the truth. Because they gonna look at mortgages. You don't got mortgages? All right, eliminate mortgages. You don't got personal loans? Eliminate personal loans. You ain't got positive payment student loans for over 5 years? Eliminate student loans. You ain't got auto loans on your credit report? Eliminate auto loans. You ain't got a credit card with a $10,000 limit with 0% or 10% utilization? Yeah, they're not telling you that. Because anybody get a 700 credit score. I can get anybody with a 700 credit score. All you have to do is put one authorized user on there. You get a 700 credit score. That's not credit. That's not real credit. That's okay, but it's not. It's not going to do you justice. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to help you. It's not going to enhance your circumstances. It's not going to do nothing. It's just going to look regular. You get what I'm saying? It's going to look. It's going to look basic. Read Critical Path by Buck Minister. Who do you recommend to read up on real estate and making money moves? I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I could teach you real estate better than most people. I think I could because I'm gonna teach you real estate in the sense of not how the big people at the top try to teach you. Oh, get 15,000 units. The average person can't afford 15,000 units. And they say go look for a deal. I'm not gonna teach you how to go just look for a deal. I can teach you how to finance it yourself and borrow the money opposed from doing this and finding deals and all that. Like it sounds like a good story, somebody on TV telling you, but if you know how to finance the house, get the house yourself, borrow against the equity, or get a renovation to the house without paying any money, all I got to bring for my renovation is $500 to the table. And after they renovate it, the price of the house can go up substantially, and I could borrow against the equity from that. You get what I'm saying? And by me able to borrow against the equity from that, I could just get that on one card, and I could teach anybody how to do that. So I think I'm the best with teaching a basic person real estate. Now, if you're talking about you already got $1 million, $2, $3 million, yeah, you can hop into the big boy leagues. But when I'm speaking to people who probably don't got $1 million, it's best to I gotta meet them where they at. I can't just be so general. I can't generalize everything to make it where you're gonna do the same thing, but everybody's budget is different. I gotta quote you exactly where your budget is. I'm starting from new. Is it too late to build credit? It's not too late. It's always time to build credit, but don't expect to make no money fast. Don't expect to run it up in 3 months. No, no, no. Expect to not do nothing but build your credit, build a good payment history, build a good banking relationship, and that's it. Don't expect to make no money, zero money. Don't expect to make expect to make $0, $0 and 0 cents. Everything zero. Don't expect to make nothing. Yeah, family. Yeah. So, any questions? Any questions before I get off here, family? Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna take a few questions from y'all. No, you don't have to go back to George Washington to establish wealth. If you want to be honest, anybody can buy land right now and establish a farm. Anybody can buy real estate. Anybody can start their own everything. You know, whether you an electrician, a plumber, anything. Now, one thing I would say that's still in high demand is useful skills like plumbing, electrician, a welder, landscaping. Like that. That's still that's always going to make money. That industry is always going to make money. But most people don't know how to use their hands, so that's how AI is going to be everybody else. Even being a barber is good, you know. But AI is going to take everything else, like your jobs, the scan and go at Walmart. AI is taking all of that. Would credit lines actually improve credit score? Yeah, Police make $100,000 a year. Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs make $100,000 a year, but in general, police probably make about 50, 60,000. Now, if you speaking from like a chief or a sheriff, maybe some do, some do. But you got to think what eats away $100,000 if you stay in the upscale area. Most police don't stay in the area that fits the budget of somebody who making 40, 50,000 dollars a year. Most police try to stay in the area of people who averaging $150,000 or more. So that 100,000 really look kind of short when you in certain areas. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like coming to Beverly Hills with $1 million. You're struggling. You get what I'm saying? That's like going to Hollywood Hills with 200,000. You're struggling. So most police officers want to live in certain areas. So that's what I mean when you dealing with those prices. Inflation gonna wipe them out too, because the same way a police making $100,000 a year, what community do you live in? I got a police over here. I think they actually right over there in one of the houses over there, but I know it's a shared combined income. I know he got to make a down payment. His wife got to pay with it because now it's like property taxes going up, everything going up. So the average person just getting wiped out, including police officers. Self improve your credit score, but that's not no means to get real funding. You got to understand that credit builder accounts is automatically is red flags to real banks. So when banks see credit builder accounts and they see that you're trying to build credit with credit builder accounts and that's the only thing on your credit report, that's a high risk borrower. They not saying that you got terrible credit, you just not good enough. You get what I'm saying? You missing this, you missing that, you missing this, and you missing that. And they're just gonna send you on your way. Meaning it's not good enough to them. They want real supreme super credit. They don't want nobody with no baby credit. They don't want nobody with no little credit coming to them and want this and want that. They want somebody with supreme credit who really, who really at a top tier and a top peak of their credit, and they can really, so the banks can really look at it like, okay, you're not a risk to us. We can trust you. We can invest in you. We can look at you like you're an asset. We can treat you like you're an asset. We can, something like that. They just can't look at the average person and be like, how do I want to say it? Like, they can't just look at the average report and just glorify it or just make it look like you qualify for it. That's, to them, that's high risk. You think, picture this, the average person who making payments on a self account, self only charge $10 a month. $10 a month. And you want to pay $1,000 a month to pay us back on the equity line of credit. So that's 100 times more than what you're paying from self. We don't think you could pay that. Because a lot of people get this confused. I'm going to tell y'all another thing. A lot of people think the banks think your income is based off what you say, right? Some people will say stated income. If I say I make $1 million a year, you can say you make $1 million a year. Your credit report don't say you make $1 million a year. Because nobody who make $1 million a year, hypothetically speaking, nobody who say they make $1 million a year got a self account on their credit report. Nobody who make $1 million a year got a credit builder's account on their credit report. Nobody who make $1 million a year got a open sky credit card on their account. They gonna say, yeah, they playing games. Now somebody who make $1 million a year got a $500,000 mortgage on their credit report. Somebody make $1 million a year, they got a $100,000 car on their credit report. Somebody who make $1 million a year, they got a $200,000 in jury financing. Yeah, somebody who make this amount of money, they got that, But the average person, no, they don't have it. And the banks can see it. The banks can see it. Credit is the weakest financial tool available. Okay, so the person who said credit is the weakest financial available tool, the thing about what people don't understand about credit is everything in society is ran by credit. Every dollar that is printed is credit. Every amount of dollar that's extended to you is credit. Every time you spend money, you have spent credit. The dollar been taken off the gold standard. So all of the dollars that we get right now are called debt notes. Debt notes is really an extension of credit. Every time you get paid and the bank have to give you cash, they have given you credit. These are credit notes. It's not dollars. So the fact is that most people misconstrue student loans, auto loans, and they can misconstrue mortgage loans as business credit or real financial aspects of credit in the sense of gaining some sort of financial advantage. If you're not receiving any real tangible loans that's giving you cash flow or passive income or an asset based system that you can build from that credit, then of course credit would be your worst nightmare because you're going to approach it as a consumer, you're going to approach it as a debtor, you're going to approach it as a financial slave. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, credit is the worst enemy to the average person who don't understand money, and credit is the best thing in the world to a businessman who understands it. It's like a game; they only want the best players, correct? So then they aren't. They say if you really make that, then you don't need credit. That's not true. I'm gonna tell you a billionaire right now, right? Robert Kiyosaki borrowed over 1.2 billion dollars in credit through real estate properties. What do you mean if a person who make $1 million a year don't need credit? If you don't use credit, you a slave. Dollars ain't worth nothing. Dollars ain't worth nothing. Dollars are taxable. You can't tax them. You can't tax credit. When I borrow real estate, look, when you borrow real estate, look, when you buy real estate, they don't tax you for it. When you borrow against the equity from real estate, they don't tax you for it. You gotta understand, borrowed money can't be taxed. They only can give you interest, but they can't be taxed. Taxes can take 30% of your check. Interest is a smaller fee than taxes. So think wisely. I'm bad at the credit thing. I know I need it, but it's about the only thing that I despise so much that I neglected. I defaulted 2 credit card accounts, got back up. Any advice for round three? You got to take off all the negative accounts. Once you take all the negative accounts up, you got to start try to attack the real credit. You got to start putting some installment debt on your credit report. Installment debts would be like secure personal loans, unsecured personal loans, auto loans. You got anything, put some real credit under your belt. It's a lot. It's a lot when it comes to real credit. You need to be rich in order to become richer. Broke people don't got money to invest. They lose money while rich get richer. Well, that's one way of looking at it. So when a person say a lot of people are too broke to get rich, that's not true. A lot of people who are broke don't fight, don't what's that word I'm looking for? They don't prioritize assets or money in order to get rich. Most people want to get rich off of luck. Most people want to get rich off of hope. Most people want to get rich off of a desire to have more. Nobody want to get rich strictly off competency. Nobody want to get rich strictly off of knowing what they're doing. Most people don't want to get rich solely off of getting to it. Most people want to get rich by playing games. Most people want to get rich by acting like they really standing on what they standing on, but they not. So you can't get rich but living a broke life. This is the average broke person to do. They get paid, they pay bills, but the extra money that they might have over, they might buy some Jordans, they might buy a nice outfit, they might buy a nice watch, they might go out to eat at a nice restaurant, and they go back broke, and they say, "Look at these evil rich people." Meanwhile, for years that people don't know, Mark Zuckerberg had a T-shirt that looked like he got it from Walmart for $3, and he don't have one chain on, he don't have the best outfit on, and he live a basic, simple life because while everybody was enjoying pleasure and amusement, he was chasing a bag. Everything that he did was turned into assets, and so the assets later on paid him, and the poor person who constantly complained about the rich was not buying assets. They wasn't studying. They wasn't learning. They was burning their brains out. They was smoking hookahs. You know how much money people just pay on smoking hookahs? Smoking hookahs, drinking liquor. partying, having fun all day. And there's not nothing wrong with having fun, but when you have too much fun and you don't prioritize money, you're not prioritizing your finances, you really just abolish an entire, the one of the most important aspects of your life, which would be financial education. How do you abandon financial education? How? You abandon the most important thing that's going to be needed in life. Because one thing about most people, right? I'm gonna tell y'all something. Right? I seen a few people, not a few people. I see most people now go to any Walmart in America and go to that Walmart early in the morning around, not early in the morning, it can be any time between 8 in the morning to 4 p.m. Guess who's gonna be at the door greeting everybody come in? It's gonna be an elderly person, whether it be a man or a woman. And they're gonna say, hey. And I was like, hey, I'm seeing them say, hey. And I asked myself, man, shouldn't that person be retired? I don't tell them that, that's kind of rude. But I noticed, I'm like, they 401k was stolen by Wall Street. Their pensions is gone. Whatever the corporations promised them when they worked that out for not hundreds of years, but 20, 30 years, didn't commit to that. And so the little Social Security benefits that they do get only cover a gas bill, water bill, and a couple outfits and food. It doesn't cover their rent. It doesn't cover their cost of living. It doesn't cover all of their house expenses. It doesn't cover any real transportation. It doesn't cover vacations. It doesn't cover nothing. So the old people that you see at Walmart, who's supposed to be vacationing and living it up, is suffering. You go to any Walmart in the country, they suffering. They don't have nothing. They don't got no money, nothing. I'm not saying that they played with their years. I'm not saying that. I don't know their circumstances. But I do know that it's something in the system that most of the world don't understand. When you have, because I'm gonna tell y'all, my step grandmother, she passed away in 2012. My grandfather, my step grandfather, he did bricklaying work, right? He did brick masonry. He was able to. He passed away in 2012. She died in 2016. He was able to take care of her even though he was deceased, and they had some decent money saved up. But she retired, so she lived at home. She owned her house, everything. They was baby boomers, right? So they come from a whole baby boomers. So they come from a whole different generation. So now, when you look at this generation of old people, you like, man, what happened? Well, back then you can be having one salary, take care of an entire house, take care of an entire family, off one salary. But now you need everybody to work in that family, and everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling. Yes, and they own their houses. They wasn't fighting. They didn't get a mortgage on there, nothing. They own their house. Even my grandmother right now, still to this day, she owned her house. My grandma owned her house. If she didn't own her house, and this inflation, it'd be very stressful. It would be very stressful for her right now. It would be very stressful because you got to understand the cost of living so high. They wish they can go back to remember them houses that everybody try to trash on and say, "Oh, I don't want to live in an old house." I bet you'll live in an old house now. I bet you'll live in a house that's like 50 years old now. The way inflation is today, I guarantee you that you'll live in an old house. Because guess what? Nobody can afford these houses today. These spec homes that they charge $500,000 for, the weakest construction homes in the world. I bet you people can't afford a $300,000 home no more, or a $5,000 mortgage payment, or a $3,000 mortgage payment. My mortgage payment went up $5,800. You get what I'm saying? But I look at it like, okay, that's good. But if somebody else, they'll get wiped out. The whole family get wiped out if they mortgage was $5,000. If the average person mortgage jumped up to $5,000, they head to spin. They would go crazy. They wouldn't even understand where the money come from, how to get the money, where to go to get the money, who to ask for the money. You get what I'm saying? So I'm glad that it's certain people that caught on to that in the 80s, where they was like, okay, if I don't do anything else, let me buy a house. Back then, the concepts of getting rich was way more easier and it was way more understandable. Let's just buy property. Nothing. So a baby boomer today, they might got 3 properties. They paid $5,000 for it. $5,000 for this house, $5,000 for that house, $5,000 for that building. This building worth $500,000. This building worth $500,000. My building worth $500,000. I'm gonna sell those 2 buildings and I'm gonna keep this building rent free, mortgage free. All my cars paid off, and whatever money I get, I can have fun with it. And I put insurance on the houses just in case the house is burned down or whatever. But everything else is paid off. So when you look at certain people, they have that system already set up. But the average person don't understand it. Neither has the average person even set up a system that even works in their favor. So when I see people working at Walmart, I see elderly people working at Walmart, not older people, not 50 or 6, not 50 ain't really old, not 60-year-olds. I see 70 and 80-year-olds working at Walmart. 70 and 80-year-old working at Walmart, and they barely can walk. They barely can walk. So if you was to ask them to help you with anything, they really couldn't lift anything. They really can't walk too far. So the only thing they can do is do a meet and greet. Hey, like they just greet people as you come in. So you can go to any of your local Walmart, you will see it. You can go to any of your local Targets, you will see it. You go to any store, you will see it. I know a lady right now at one of the Dollar Trees that's not too far from me. She's about late 60s and she working at Dollar Tree. Now, some people will try to laugh and say, oh, that's the teenager jobs. You got a lot of elderly people. Guess who they're competing with now? Teenagers. Elderly people are competing with teenagers for jobs now. Ain't that crazy? You have a 69-year-old woman. She's right behind us. And our cashier, she's no older than 25 years old. So she's over 50 years older than the cashier right here. And this cashier, it's insane how society is. And that's when you look at recession. You're like, damn, this inflation knocking everybody out. They going to Dollar General. Yeah, Dollar General was that. That's who giving everybody the jobs, because that's what everybody's shopping at. Dollar General, or they go to Walmart, or even if you go to any other job, they all sold out. It's people who go on Indeed and they look at jobs that's hiring in the area, and not one job is hiring. Not one job. It's people go to TikTok right now. It's people who filled out jobs, over 1,100 applications, and not one person respond. They went through Indeed. They went through whatever site that's hiring. They went to all of those sites, and not one of the jobs was hiring. And only reason why the job is still listed on Indeed is because the job doesn't want to lose value in their stock. So if they put a cap on their limited applications and they say we are no longer hiring, that's going to slow down the economy, and that's also going to slow down the stock price, because the lack of employment is going to drive the lack of customers, and the lack of customers is going to drive down the stock. And if the stock price go down, guess what? Their company valuations go down. So they don't want that. So of course they still have to keep it up. Of course they still have to keep it and make it look like we got a job. And so I see some people look at certain jobs. They say, oh, they hiring and they starting off salaries $141,000. I'm gonna let you know this, right? There's not one job you can go to on Indeed that's paying $141,000, and they literally have that position open. The manager would give that to his cousin, to their mother-in-law, to their brother, before they give it to a stranger who applied for a job application on Indeed. People got to think a little bit more logical. They say, oh, the warehouse manager, we going to pay him $151,000 a year. Do you genuinely think, like with no games planned, do you genuinely believe that they have a job opening for the average person, for just the average person that's starting off at $150,000 a year? Just think about it. Do you think they got any job in America for the average person that's starting off with a $150,000 salary? Nowhere in America you would find that, because it's not true. The boss would have gave it to their family members before they give it to a stranger. Do You think it's gotten bad already? Haven't you seen anything yet? Yes. It's like the movie Sonia Green, where the populations is peasants and the kings and queens are rich. But that's how it been. That's how it's been. It's been an economy where it's been a rich and a poor. But the only thing you want me to tell you, I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? Back when my earlier days when I was learning about how to become rich, this is about 2015, right? I was about 19. So when I wanted to become rich, the internet hasn't reached its peak with socialization. So when you see rich people, it usually be celebrities. So a lot of times when it's celebrities, the dividing line between the rich and poor was still great because it was a small percentage of people that you see rich, but they was in high class status, right? You'll see rappers or NFL players, but you knew these people was unreachable, right? But what made the world see the dividing line so clear is when you're dealing with social media influencers, people who you can see in the world, people you can walk past in the world, and you'll say, wow, this person look like they getting some money. This person look like he doing this. And then you start seeing people, some people fake their lifestyle, some people really live their lifestyle, right? And now the other side got hip to the rich side. Now people really can see the dividing line because remember, the dividing line is way worse back in 2000 because you could have lived in the Bronx, but the Bronx would have known nothing about the rich people in Manhattan because it wasn't no social media, wasn't no social networking, it was nothing. So whatever we did as millionaires, nobody knew. Same way if you go to Atlanta, like it was people who was rich in Atlanta and you had a poor part of Atlanta. But since everything, you got social media and all of that, so much information is being shared. I'm gonna tell y'all, do you know how many students I bump into at Walmart? Do you know how many students I bump into in Houston just walking and they just see me on the street? They say, hey, what's up? How you doing? Every time a student jump out the car at 10 o'clock on me, I ain't know who this person was, but he greeted me, but he like sovereignty and everything like that. But that just show you like how close everything is now. It's not like it was back then. So it's been like that. It's been a dividing line amongst people who got money and amongst who don't, but I think it's a little bit mixed up. Because you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere and you can see a person of influence. If you do see somebody who you feel like that knows money or understand money a little bit, ask them questions. Ask them how to get to it. Ask them for tips or ask them for more information. Oh, I like Trump. I like Trump. I like his conservative position because I'm conservative myself. I like Trump, and also I look at this recession as a chance because you got to understand Trump ain't the one who initiated the recession. It was Biden. It was the Democrats. You got to understand when they made what happened when they stopped the I forgot what's the name of it again XL pipeline when Biden made the mandate in a order to shut down the main pipeline for the oil supply. What happened was it brought oil prices through the roof because we had a limited supply of oil. So the oil went from $30 to $100 a barrel, $130 a barrel. So that's a major increase. And also you got to think that it's a lot of stuff that brought about this inflation. And what Trump is trying to do, I see what he's trying to do because China was a country that was already charging us tariffs, but we wasn't charging them massive tariffs. So when we're looking at the trade war, everything should be balanced. So I get it. I get it 100% from a business perspective. Now the average person don't because they don't understand we got to fall down and rise back up. They just think when Trump get in, the economy flip overnight, but it's entirely impossible to flip an economy overnight and you have years on top of years on top of years of mass inflation. It doesn't work like that. You have to go to a greater inflation in order for things to rise. Because remember, when we hit the fall in 2008 recession, right? After 2008 and 2009, the economy kicked back and it went to an all-time high and it'll start booming again, right? So when you look at now, when you look at how everything is now, it's going to go down and it's got to come right back up. Recessions don't last forever, right? But I would say this, the people at the bottom is going to suffer the most. It always been like that. It always been like that. I don't control that. Trump really he can call some shots, but he don't really control it because if you working for wages, you're gonna get wiped out regardless because your dollars is not gonna add up to the recession prices. That's how you're gonna get wiped out. Your dollars that you make hourly is not gonna add up to the recession to the recession prices unless you're making $100 an hour or $150 an hour. That's a different story. Hold on, me too. Um, you might got your opinions about Trump. That's okay. Like honestly, for me, it's like I got my personal reasons for Trump. It's more about the Second Amendment. That's the reason why. Because he's a pro-gun advocate. I am too. I stand for the Second Amendment. He's the first president in history who's a convicted felon, but also pushing the agenda to push the Second Amendment. And also the Supreme Court, since Trump is in office, they push back certain cases that was found a person convicted of being a felon in possession of a firearm. And the Supreme Court said you need to reconsider the judgment of trial court. So that lets me know that the Second Amendment is coming back in full effect. So I respect the Second Amendment. I truly do. So that's one of my principles of standing with Trump. Now, other reasons, everybody got their own reason, and that's cool. I don't really care whoever you vote for personally, because at the end of the day, your political decision might have something that benefits you. You get what I'm saying? So it's up to you. Yeah, AI is gonna take everybody's jobs. Ain't no, and not one person gonna have a job when AI come through. Isn't the government going away with the Constitution? You can't even say freedom of speech anymore. If you ask me, Congress have reached so much power in American society and also enacted so many commercial policies and also commercial laws with the legislation that it's slowly starting to eradicate the Constitution. So a lot of rights that was given to us, even not given to us, but constitutionally protected rights that was supposed to be enforced by the government is now being manipulated. Because what the government did was, instead of them saying, I'm going to eradicate the amendment, they start creating exceptions. And let me explain this to you. So let's just say hypothetically you got rights, right? But the government found a loophole in law where now I can create an exception to anything in the amendments. So if the Second Amendment say the people have the right to keep and bear arms, right? Now they say, okay, we're going to take that as face value, but this is what we're going to say as the government to respond or fight back against those amendments that protects the United States citizens. We are going to create an exception under 922G, which prohibit convicted felons from possessing a firearm, because we want to say we care about the safety of the American people, and we want to create a gun control safety act. Now the Supreme Court looking at it like, oh, you didn't violate the Second Amendment. They only want to create gun control, but gun control means a limitation on guns, and also certain people are going to be excluded from having guns, and you're going to create tighter gun restrictions, therefore slowly eliminating the Second Amendment. Let's go to the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment says we are protected within our homes and our cars, and you got to have a search warrant in order to search our vehicles. But the the Congress and all that, and the courts, they made an exception to the Fourth Amendment. They said if you smell weed in the car, that would be an exception for you to search that person's vehicle. If that person drives without a license, we're going to say that's an exception to search that person's car. So when you look at that, the exceptions is the violation of your constitutional rights. The small exceptions is what they use in order to justify a violation of your constitutional rights. Yes, you can have the right to speech, but let's just say the exception. You cannot make any words that might sound or like you threatening or trying to start a riot or trying to provoke any criminal or terroristic activity, and therefore we'll shut down your First Amendment right. So the exceptions is one thing that the United States has used against the Constitution to war against the powers that be. Yeah. Yep. So that's how it works. And so if people want to know that, that's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Just that alone. Please, and that's exactly what I want people to understand. So those little exceptions right there is what they use to take away your constitutional rights. Don't matter what constitutional rights you name, those will be the exceptions. Even Donald Trump made an exception, which I do partially agree with when it comes to the 14th Amendment, because he made a clarification that the 14th Amendment was not intent. It wasn't the intention of people of any foreign descent who was born in the United States. It was primarily for enslaved blacks who were in the United States, who was born in the United States to obtain citizenship because we was brought here in slavery or chains or whatever the case might be. And that is what creates the 14th Amendment. Now that I can somewhat agree with it. And he tried to make an exception to it. So you can go back and forth. You can judge it however you want to judge it. I'm fine whichever one you go with. But I'm just saying they use exceptions to eradicate any amendment. Any amendment you can name, they will find an exception to eradicate it. That's why I tell people it's good to self-govern. Because when you self-govern and you try to govern yourself, the goal is make sure you put yourself in that position before you're trying to claim anything else. It's best to self-govern. That's just my whole take on it. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Joseph Vash, yep, that's true, bro. Yep, they push you into a corner until you breaking the law, then you lost your rights. And that's so crazy. A right can never be lost. How can rights be lost? It can't. Unless you're in confinement or jail. Rights can never be lost unless you're in jail. Even if you go back to before 1930, there was no such thing as a lifetime ban on convicted felon in possession of a firearm. You get what I'm saying? So the possession of 19, okay, the possession of being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm that came out and was enacted in 1968. It was signed into office by Democratic President Lyndon B. Johnson. He signed that executive order due to the gun safety regulation for the Gun Control Act. But the problem was that they was going to use that Gun Control Act to eliminate the life. And they was going to eliminate our rights, but they also was going to use that to enforce the lifetime ban on felons in possession of firearms. Because remember, prior to Lyndon B. Johnson signing that order, everybody who was a felon didn't get eliminated from having a gun. You only had to be away from guns during your parole time and you being in prison. But after parole, after prison, there's no more you can't be around guns. Because in after a person get out of prison, that is a requirement or a regulation that they're put in place for parolees to not carry guns. But anytime after your parole, you're free to carry them. But when Lyndon B. Johnson signed the lifetime ban, that took away felon rights forever. And so now we getting all of that back, thanks to President Donald Trump. You said credit. You said there was a speech given saying credit would be the new slavery. That's a good way of looking at it. Now, consumer credit could be the new slavery, but I am gonna tell you, I would agree with student loan debt would be the new slavery because student loan debt is the only debt in the world that doesn't have a statute of limitation, meaning that debt is with you to the day you sign and the day you die. So between the time you sign that contract to get the student loans and the time you die, from that time right there, it's over with. It's over with. It's over with. It's over with. It is over with. You stuck with that debt forever. And not only is you stuck with that debt forever, you got to realize that they enforcing the laws on the student loans. So now you got to pay back the student loans. Now they're going to force collections on the student loans. Now they're going to freeze your bank accounts. Now they're going to go after you. Now they're going to make it where they're going to end up freezing your passport where you can't travel overseas. They're going to treat it the same way they treat restitution on a federal level. You know, when somebody catch a federal gun case, federal drug cases, or they commit scams and they owe the government a restitution of $1 million. But if they don't pay the restitution, they can't travel nowhere. And on top of that, their taxes will be withheld. And on top of that, they can have some of their funds being withheld, hold from the job and everything. So it is crazy, family. It's crazy. No, no, hold on. So, how people used to push that: go to college, get a good education, and get good grades, and follow the same steps that they did 60 years ago. But the problem is that most people don't understand is that most of the jobs in the career fields that most people go to college for will not even be available to them once they graduate. So you will see a person that get a degree for African American studies, and he working at Panda Express. You will see a person who get a doctorate in frog psychology, and they working stacking boxes at Kmart. You will see a person who went to culinary art school, who got a master's degree in culinary art school, frying chicken at Popeyes. And you will ask yourself, I thought that you went to school for this. Oh, they're not hiring in this field. They told me come back 5 years later and resubmit an application. So you just went to school for 5 years to 8 years to obtain this master's degree, and they don't have the job field for you? No. So what was the purpose of sending you to school? To put me in debt? I went to school just to get in debt. That's all they needed. Once they got that, they got it. Because I found it crazy, right? They would give an 18-year-old who never experienced life, who never did anything substantial or great, a person who never took on major responsibilities, a person who is not financially organized, a person who does not have their finances in order. They would give them an $80,000 student loan to learn, but they wouldn't give an 18-year-old half of that, a quarter of that for a business loan. Because what's crazy is even if he lose the 14,000, I can at least say that he's seen something from that of value. But what do you see from $80,000 in student loans besides a printed paper that matter of fact, who want a degree? I could print you a degree and give it to you. It's called Taquan University. Who want a degree? I can give y'all a master's degree. I can give y'all a PhD. I can give y'all any degree that y'all want. I will print you a degree and I will give it to you. And you can show your boss that. That's how the real work right now. I will give you a degree. If you really want a degree, I'll print you one. Pay me 80,000. I'll print you one. I'll pass. I'll give you transcripts and everything. Not transcripts, but I'll give you good A's. I will make sure that I'll give you straight A's. I'll make sure all of your report cards look fantastic. I will make sure that you set at a 4.2 GPA. Even though it's 4.0, it's going to make it higher. I'll make 4.2 GPA. I'm going to make sure that I give you a associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, PhD, a super PhD. I'm going to give you everything, and then I'm going to charge you 80,000. Yeah, I'll give y'all a degree for 80,000. No schooling required. I give you all the certifications. I'll print you a license. I'll print you a degree, everything. And then they ask, what's the Quannex University? They're not gonna know, but I can print you out any university slip and I can give it to you. That's how college is, and it's crazy. You know, a lot of people went there. My wife, you know, she went to college, you know, and she in student loan debt. And I'm like, that is crazy. So they gave y'all all this debt for nothing. She don't work in the career field right now of what she graduated from. And I was like, that was crazy. So I'm like, what's the point of going to school? Because everybody told them. Everybody said go to school. Everybody told her to go to school. And I don't know what school was going to bring. I didn't. When I grew up, I didn't. I was under the same impression like, if you go to school, you're gonna be something. That was false. That was false. That was false. I had in the town where I was supposed to go to college, I was in prison, so I went to prison. I didn't had a chance to go to college. I went to prison, and I came home at 22. And so once I came home, I learned about like business, you know, everything like that, and I learned about the credit game and everything. And I moved. I eventually moved to Las Vegas, and I started building ever since. You know, I just learned credit really. And remember, you don't need no credentials. I'm a convicted felon about real estate and everything. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all one thing. They'll stop me from renting, but when they come to buying properties, I can buy unlimited properties. I can buy properties anywhere in the world. I can buy properties anywhere in the United States, and it's so easy to do it. And but this the thing: if you got student loan debt and you in default status, it'll stop you from buying real estate. So a lot of this stuff can stop you from your financial destiny just off the strength of you taking off student loan debt. So they'll give a convicted felon who never been to college a real estate property, but they won't give a college person who got a college degree a real estate property due to the fact that they got delinquent student loan debt. And most people got student loan debt. If you look at, delinquent student loan debt, over 60% of American student loans debt is in default status. 40% is paying. And you get what I'm saying? That's a big chunk. 60%. So 60% not paying. 60%. That's a big percentage. Now I would have said I would at least understood if they were saying it was like, I don't know, 10% that's not paying, but 60%, that's more people not paying than actually paying. This is what they don't teach you in school is they don't want you, you know, uh, they don't want you to learn how to credit. Yeah, Taja, yes, correct. They do not want you to they don't want you to learn credit. But I'm not gonna say that they don't really want you to learn credit. I don't think they understand credit themselves. Cause no teachers, all the teachers that I had growing up, they never they was not financially literate themselves. They didn't understand the world. They didn't understand finances. They didn't understand the market. They didn't understand nothing. They only understood a job, and they only understood to teach us how to work a job. All of my teachers didn't know nothing about credit like that. Not in a entrepreneurial sense. Like, so, as a consumer, they knew how to get an auto loan or they knew how to get an apartment or something like that, but they didn't know how to go in the bank and get an equity line of credit. They didn't know how to put the equity in their home up to get a real estate loan or to get a business loan or anything like that. That's why a lot of people didn't, succeed. 60% are non-default. It's less than 5%. No, when I'm saying 60%, I'm talking about not making payments. So you got to search that up. So the 5% might be in default, like where it's going to collections. But you got 60% not paying. You can actually watch the news. The news even reported that. Most people are not paying their student loans. So you can search that up, Arthur, again. Most people are not paying their student loans. You only got 4 million students you got 4 million that is paying, but you got 5 million that's not paying or something like that. But don't lawyers understand credit? It depends on what type of lawyer you have. You got a business lawyer, you got a criminal lawyer, you got a civil lawyer, you got a marriage lawyer, you got all type of lawyers, like an injury lawyer, like depending on which lawyer you referring to. Much love, brother. I've been watching you for a minute. Thank you. You welcome, fam. I'm seeing the system won't put it in circulation for the teachers to teach it because if they do, they're gonna lose all the teachers. Now they want employees. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So in this society, the goal is to keep the poor poor. So they want you to work. They want you to work a job. They want you to be in debt. They want you to owe the system. They want you to just like it's just like a Ponzi scheme. Everybody getting scammed. Everybody listening to the system. Everybody following the system guidelines, and everybody doing what the system wants them to do. The system is still going to be the system regardless of if you like it or not. The goal is, are you going to exit the system? Are you going to get out the system? Are you going to get away from the system? Are you going to run away from the system? Are you going to not fall into the deep trap of the system? That's what a lot of people got to ask themselves. Good luck to you, sir. I can tell you have a good heart. Yep. Yes, sir. If you started from zero, what would you do? The first thing I have to do is labor. If you were starting from zero, with my knowledge, or are you just saying start from zero? It's a difference. Like if it's a different story. If you, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. If I had to start from scratch, and with no knowledge, I would do labor work. I would do independent labor work, such as cutting grass. I would do a lot of lawn care services. I would do cleaning. I would do cleanup jobs. I would clean up communities. I would get contracts to cut landscape and everything like that, or something like that. Now, if you're talking about $0 with what I know, the first thing I would have did was I would have did some physical lawn work, and I would have got $200. I would have put it on my trading account, and I would have been average. I would have been trading average every day, because my goal would be at least make $100 every day, and if I can make at least $100 every single day, it'll put me in a position to keep making it, but I'll be in a position to move around more. So now that $100 is gonna turn to 1,000, and that 1,000 gonna turn to 10,000, and I'm just gonna keep pushing it. It depends on the circumstances. Do I got kids? Do I have a house on my own? Like it just depends on, because starting from zero is very, very hard. It's not that hard, but it's very hard, especially when you're looking at all the circumstances today. I don't think starting from zero today would be easy like it was in 2018. I started from zero in 2018, but starting from zero right now, it'd be extremely hard. Cause remember, when I came home, it was no recession, it was no inflation, it wasn't none of that. The economy was decent because Trump was in office. This was his first term, and he just got out. Like he literally like he was just about to start getting out. He just got in, but he was just about to get out. So the economy was good. It was very, very good. It was very fluent. Everything was functioning right. Nothing was wrong. Joe Biden get in. Inflation go through all time high. Trump get in. In order for him to reverse it, it got to go through a massive inflation now, because the tariffs is going to play a role in inflation, but it's also going to play a role in the trade that how we deal with other countries. So that's going to help us in the long run. Since everybody's so short-sighted, everybody thinks this is going to be the end all be all, and I won't look at it like that. But if I had to start from zero right now, it'll be extremely hard. It would not be easy. Like I would damn near want to rob a bank. I swear. In this economy, I'm not gonna lie to you, I would want to rob a bank. I would genuinely want to rob a bank. When I'm looking at Chicago, or I'm looking at other cities, listen, I don't care where you live at. If you live in any democratic, especially democratic cities, I don't care if you live in Los Angeles. I don't care if you live in Chicago, New York City, all affluent areas. That means rich or wealthy areas is getting robbed blind. Robbed blind. People is taking everything. They robbing every jewelry store. They robbing every mall. They are robbing everything. And I'm not saying it's right. It's actually wrong. But it gets to a point where the poor is had enough. Because remember, LA is one of the hardest economies in the world right now. It's way expensive in LA than it is right now. So inflation in Texas versus California, they inflation is like 5 times higher than Texas. Texas not even going through a crazy inflation compared to California. In California, everybody's getting robbed blind out there. Look at their crime rate in California, and their theft rate and their property crimes rate. It is at an all-time high. It is not easy to survive California. If any of y'all live in California, you want to be very, very, very careful living out there. And this is what causes, like, this is what is going to be the bad outcomes of inflation. A lot of rich people too will get robbed. A lot of people will get their stores broken into. They just robbed a jewelry store in Chicago. They just robbed another jewelry. They robbed the same jewelry store on the same street. It was like 5 people, and it was like 5 different jewelry stores got robbed in 1 week in Chicago on the same street. It's like it's chaos. That's exactly what's gonna happen in the recession. It's chaos. Chaos is gonna happen. Everybody gonna get robbed. Everybody's house gonna get broken in because nobody got no money. Especially LA. Like LA don't have. It's no hope in LA. If you live in LA right now, there's no hope for you. Starting at zero, there's no hope. There's no hope because it's like that's like a don't care town. Like people will walk past you like you to spit on the ground in LA. And on top of that, there's no dollar amount that you could genuinely wage. Like there's no wage you genuinely can make in California that will make you in a good position. You can make $30 an hour in LA. That's not nothing. You could be living on the street making $30 an hour. You could be living in your car making $50 an hour. Unless you live in like a very tiny apartment in a hood somewhere. But if you wanted to live comfortable in LA, I say for a single person, maybe 150 to $200,000 a year, and no job is really paying that in no LA. Not for first starters, not like a person who just walked from the street and went right into the corporate office and said, "Hey, I'm ready to work." No, it don't work like that. You right, not the same. Hold on. Will you do a day trading training? Yeah, I would. I would. I'm gonna make a I'm gonna make a I'm gonna make a post whenever I do want to start doing training for everybody. Appreciate it, Melvin. I appreciate it, fam. You right, not the same at all. They fighting tooth and nails to get stuff on your credit. These lender criteria is way harsher. Yeah, yeah. They looking through your credit file with a thin comb, and they looking for anything. If it's a piece of dandruff, it's over with. You get denied. You gotta have excellent credit nowadays. All of the baby credit and all of the weak credit and weak credit files that people have, and they think they're gonna get somewhere with that. You're not getting nowhere with that. Yeah, you're right. It's most definitely a whole nother game being played out here. California is crazy, family. Yeah. Yeah, California is crazy. Can't survive out there. It's super hard. Super hard in California, y'all. Yep, that's what's gonna happen. It's gonna be crazy chaos. Everybody's store is gonna get robbed, and that's why I don't want to do no customer transactions nowadays. Like it become a digital system. I see people. Listen, you go to any mall. You ever go to the mall and the only everybody is only in the food court? That's the only thing that is gonna sell is food. Food is the only thing gonna sell in a recession because everybody eat out of depression. Everybody eat out of depression. Because if you got $50 to your name, you gonna buy a pair of shoes or you gonna buy food. You gonna buy food. So that's the only thing that is gonna be booming in a recession is restaurants. But like you go to any mall, you look at all the individual stores. How many people in there? Unless you talking about the major stores like a Macy's or a Kohl's, but eliminate those stores. Just the average store up in there, nobody in there. Nobody. How do you get out the system debt free? You want to be debt free? You live in a debt based society. The way to get out debt free is just stop paying your debt, stop worrying about money. Cause this is a debt society. Everything is debt. Every dollar you get is debt. Everything you do is debt. It's just debt. People can't even afford restaurants. Get some street food. If you can't afford a restaurant, get some street food. Food stamps and food banks for free. Food stamps finna get cut off. If you're receiving Social Security, food stamps, anything, Section 8, all of that is getting cut off. Everything is getting cut off. Now, that's another thing about the Trump administration that a lot of people don't like. They don't like that Section 8 about to get cut off. What else about to get cut off? You got dang, I forgot what's the name of it. It's Section 8, um, food stamps, Social Security, welfare, getting cut off clean. Definitely don't have kids. Yeah, having kids in this economy, how you, man, go through it. It will have you go through it in a recession with kids, man. Like I don't know, you know. Tried the trade lines. It was worth the shot. Need solid things to put on there. Yeah, trade lines ain't gonna do nothing. Now, trade lines is only good with good credit. Let's just say if you had like a mortgage on your credit report, 2 auto loans, few credit cards, and you just want to throw like $100,000 trade line, that would help your credit, yeah. But just to have a weak credit profile with nothing on there, just for AUs, they gonna throw it back. Give us something better. All of the states need each other on some type one-on-one connection because every state has its own jewel that the next person need or can use. Oh, if you're referring to a bartering system, everybody should have been thought about a bartering system. Ain't nobody think about a bartering system now. Ain't nobody think about that. It's every man's for themselves. That's exactly how the system made it. It's so crazy that people want to create bartering systems once everything get hard. But bartering systems was supposed to get established before a recession because now ain't nobody gonna trust each other. Matter of fact, well, if we bought some land, we grew all the crops. You think the next person gonna trust the next person to not steal every crop and leave the land? Like it's little stuff like that. Like I don't know. I think once you get this too far in the recession, like I think every man for themselves. I don't want it like that, but I think it's gonna get like that. I think it would be like that. All of the states need each other. Oh no, I read that. I read that. Um, Let me go up. Um, oh, no. I teach people data furnisher. Only thing I do probably is I probably can add some accounts to your credit report, but they're not that strong. You gonna need some. You gonna need some real credit. It's not that easy no more. It's not like what I used to add on people reports to make it go somewhere. It's not working no more. It's not that strong. It's good, but it's not that strong, especially if you're in a rush. I know a lot of people that's in a rush, and I mean like they want overnight credit. Some people come to me want overnight credit. They want to say, man, if I pay you, can you get me? I want to get a $100,000 car, no down payment. And I say, let me see a credit report. And I say, you want it what? $100,000 car. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like when you look at it, like all of the factors don't even meet the lowest bank. I could send you to the lowest bank, Westlake Financial. Westlake Financial is going to deny it. Every small bank is gonna deny it. Every bank gonna look at it like it's not like profile's too weak. You're gonna need a thicker profile for the banks to feel comfortable. You are considered a connection. Let's say it's like that because you're right about for bothering for sure. Yeah. Oh, like me being a connection. Yeah, that's it's good to have connections. Like we can establish something. I feel because it's rough out here, but they wanted what they be wanting the most. Yeah, correct. It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bank's not going no more. They've been giving out. I'm gonna tell you the truth though. The bank's been giving out a lot of money, a lot of money. A lot of people been eating. A lot of people been eating. They've been giving out money like it's like I said, like dirt off the street. Like picture getting dirt and you scooping it inside of people's hands. That's how banks is giving out money. People will be lucky if they can finance a T-shirt. It's getting so bad. People financing food off DoorDash now. They finance the food off Uber Eats. It's getting bad. This recession for real. Like you can't afford DoorDash. No, they can't. Average person don't even got $100 to their name. Back then it used to be 1,000. A lot of people ain't got 100 to their name because of this recession. So But but also it could be a consequence when you don't work and when it's not a recession, and then a recession come and you don't got nothing to show for it. It's like without any preparation you're gonna fall. Without any real preparation you're gonna fall. Growing your own food is free to eat, right? Growing your food is free, but getting the land is not that easy. That's the thing. You still gotta get the land to maintain. You still gotta get the seeds. You still gotta get all the tools and the equipment to maintain a sizable amount to get a real garden. What you want to grow, one watermelon and one pumpkin, or do you want to grow a field of food? That's what you gotta ask yourself. Is it easy to remove a charge off in a collection off your credit? If it's been charged off, yes, it's way more easier. Yes, yes, it's way more easier. Yep. There's only a few people I know that really got charge offs and collections. Most people just got collections. Charge offs is way more easier. You can work with a charge off. You can get a charge off easy. But remember, you still got to have a strong credit profile. So if you're trying to use this to get money or borrow money, you got to have a strong credit profile. I've been trying to remove mine for years. There's a certain way you got to remove it. I got a process for that. I do. I do got a process for that. Oh, family, I'm gonna stay on for like 5, 10 more minutes. I gotta go, cause we've been on 2 hours. I ain't never been on live. No, I have one time I think. Um, is it easy? Oh yeah, I said that. Um, let me see. Any questions? Any questions, y'all? Any questions? Yeah. So yeah, like it's getting hard now. It's getting real, real hard now, fam. Real hard. What we thought hard was just going to work for 8 hours. Some people can't go to work for the 8 hours. We think hard is hard you know, when they barely pay you. But what happens when they don't pay you? What happens when you don't get paid? After they fire, a lot of people have been saying they ain't getting paid till a couple months later. Could have back. Sometimes the employer had to get a loan to pay them. Ain't that crazy? Corporations do that. They can get a loan for payroll. A lot of people do get a loan for payroll. What do you think about all of the police chases, body cam footage? It's crazy. It's crazy that you got to make the lives longer now because it's a recession. You got to make no, no. Yeah, but whoever get this info, I hope y'all, take off with it. I hope a lot of you guys benefit from anything I teach. My goal is if I can give anybody this information and they can use it to their advantage and they can win from it, take off. But I know a lot of people, it's going to be hard to take off because it's easy to talk to the people over the screen. I'm just over the screen, hey, y'all, telling y'all things, giving y'all updates, giving y'all information. But that's not necessarily changing lives. You get what I'm saying? I'm not literally changing your life. I'm trying to be effective while I'm at least trying to help y'all change y'all life. I really want you guys to follow the truth. I want you guys to stand on business. I want you guys to make sure that y'all standing on purpose. How much info, need info, how much for personal help? Depends on what you're trying to get done. I'm about to get a new car. How to get the title? I know you did before. I was in your first class. Which first class? If you was, you have to get my. It's different. You gonna have to get my title process. I know how to file for a title in Illinois. I got that process. I only charge $200 for it. I got that process too. You gonna like it, but make sure the car is brand new. It can't be used. I appreciate it, fam. I really do. Official, the Boldly Music and TV. I appreciate it, fam. I try to be. Yeah, I still got the same phone number. You can hit me up tomorrow if you want to, or you can shoot me a text tonight. I'll respond. Car ownership becomes so expensive too, and maintain for mechanics. Who you telling? Very expensive. Turo is good. Okay, got you. Yeah. Whew, All right, 7 more minutes, y'all. I'm staying on 7 more minutes. What's the plans, y'all? What's going on? How everybody been doing? Like, what's been going on financially? How everybody being financially? What's the moves? Oh, all right, fam. All right. Well, I'm just gonna cut it short then, y'all. Survival. Survival. Um, what's your circumstances? Are you in college or have you graduated college? Are you on your own? Like, that depends on everybody's survival different. Survival to me is like you living on your own, no parents, no nothing. Then I'd be like, yeah, trying to start a business. What kind of business? What services do you offer? Mentorship, how to sell on Amazon. I offer status correction. Um, Really, I'm finna start government correction. I don't even want to do status correction anymore. I'm gonna rephrase that: government correction. I don't want to do status correction. Government correction. Um, what else? I teach. What's another thing I teach? What else? What else? What else? What else? How to report credit to all three credit bureaus. It's a data furnisher. There's a lot of stuff I teach. Lacking capital. I'm on my own. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. How can I reach you for your services? 224-463-1848. Again, 224-463-1848. You rent or you bought? No kids. That's gonna be your easiest way to come up. Because if you ain't got kids, you ain't got nobody depending on you. You really can, take it to the next level. Especially if you ain't got no kids, Taja. No college, te- uh, technical school, 2 jobs, and jack credit. The goal is, I would say, fix your credit while you're working, and then once you take them negatives off, you can take off from there. I'm gonna give you an update. The missus, I'm gonna give you an update. It's gonna come. How to legally rob a bank. I know everybody's looking for that, but tell me what exactly do do y'all expect from the book? Like, what is one thing that you really want from this book? I have no kids or a wife or a girlfriend. Are you already richer? You already richer. Oh, you got a mortgage? Oh, if anything, you better sell that house. Sell that house, start over. A paid off house is real good. And then you got to think you can really be building, you can rebuild your credit. So you don't think working a job is worth it nowadays? No, because it can't keep up with the wages of inflation. I look at things. I look at society. It's all based upon how to leverage money in the real world, because you got to think, even if I work a job, it's not gonna add up to the inflation amount. So if I could sit back and learn how to make $300-400 a day, why not? Instead of just working a job that's gonna pay me $300 a day, but then you got to consider taxes. And no job pay $300 a day. Barely any jobs pay $300 a day. Really, most jobs pay like $170 a day, but you got to include taxes. Remember, $170, I'm putting it at $17 average, and I'm putting you average working 10 hours because everybody overworking right now. Ain't nobody doing 40 hours a week. Everybody really doing 60, if you ask me. Some people do 80 hours a week, 80-hour work weeks, 12-hour shifts. Yeah, I'm on. I'm okay, fam. Yeah, sell your car, sell your home, start all the way back over. And it's okay to start over. You got to understand, once you reach your peak of success, all of that other stuff don't even mean nothing. Like, once you sell it, because you can get a better house, you get a better car once you sell it. You get what I'm saying? Let's just say if I ever fall in hard times, I'll sell my truck in a heartbeat. I don't really care about it. As long as the cash flow can keep coming in, I get another truck. This stuff come and goes. Houses come and goes. Trucks come and goes. Cars come and go. Credit come and go. But when you stay on it and you really stay consistent, you're gonna run up a bag. You're gonna put yourself in a position that you ain't even seen coming. I think we are in the same transitional period from cash to digital currency. Of course, we in a whole different system right now. This is a credit digital system right now. Really, not even credit. If you ask me, the credit system let up a little bit. Now we strictly into the digital system. Can I access and leverage my social security number, trust? Oh no, I don't deal with that stuff. Whoever teach y'all, I just talked to a student yesterday. It was a woman. She called me yesterday. She said I had an 820 credit score. I got 5 auto loans on my credit, all positive payment history. She gave all of that up because of a YouTube video that told her that she could discharge her cars with the 1099A. And I was so blue because I was like, you missed out on $1 million play because of what a video you seen on YouTube without evidence. That was crazy. So no, all of that stuff that y'all be learning on YouTube is false. Whoever teaching that is lying to y'all, or they misinformed. I hope they just misinformed and they just don't know. And it's okay if they don't. But if they just telling y'all that with guaranteed surety and telling y'all that they doing it, they just lying. Y'all don't come in here with all that social security. Yeah, I don't deal with it. And once you come in, I'm just gonna correct it. I'm just gonna tell y'all like, no, it's not true. Whoever told y'all that, I don't care who told y'all that, it's false. Oh, okay, fam. So I'm gonna leave my phone number with y'all, fam. It's 224-463-1848. Again, it is 224-463-1848. Again, it is 224-463-1848, y'all. Peace and love, y'all. Definitely trying to discharge this mortgage whenever I can. No, I'll just say just sell it. Are you default? That's my last question for tonight. Are you default on your mortgage? I think the greatest financial opportunity is invested in crypto. Crypto is good. It's very good. Yeah. Are you default or are you not default? Fam, y'all keep me on here longer than expected. Oh shoot. Are you default or are you not default? Are you default? Yeah, it's time to sell. It's still time to sell. I promise you, it's just time to sell, y'all. All right, peace and love, y'all. I'm out for tonight, y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this live. I'm gone. My phone number again is 224-463-1848. Peace and love, y'all. Peace and love.